Hey, what's up, guys? Remember this? This is my, well, depending on how you calculate price, about $3,000 gaming PC. And again, it sucks. Why? Because it only has a mere 3900X. The 3900X is so terrible compared to what I'm upgrading to today that I felt the need to make a whole video about upgrading my CPU. Because today, we're upgrading to the much better, just so much faster, higher clock speed, everything better, 3900 XT. Now, you're probably wondering, what the hell? Why would you spend another $400 to upgrade a 3900X to a 3900 XT? Well, that's because, yeah, this was only $400. Only $400. You get the point. This was, it was open box at Micro Center for $365 and plus New York State sales tax, approximately $400. And that's about how much I could sell the 3900X for. So basically, I get a free upgrade, and that's about it. So in this video, I'm going to take the sticker off after I test this, by the way, which is going to be upgrading my main gaming PC with taking out one $400 to $500 processor and replacing it with another $400 to $500 processor. So let's get this thing taken apart. We should turn it on its side. So, in this rig, as you probably saw, we have an EVGA CLC 360mm AIO, and, you know, it's pretty good. It cools the CPU well. That's really all there is to say about it. It's an Asus design, so obviously it does pretty good. So I'm going to be leaving that in. I did buy a new AIO, and it's taking every little bit of restraint that I have to not replace this with that right now. But I can't, because it's for a different build. But, so we'll just stick with the EVGA. Oh, God, what a tragedy. God, there's something so interesting. I don't know if it's cool or not, but there is something very interesting about working in a just ginormous case with parts that, you know, they're not small, but they're, you know, they're not as, you know, not eATX or anything. These are just normal ATX standard parts in just this humongous case. Like, there's just so much room. So we're getting our last screw off. I mean, the mounting system for this EVGA cooler is, you know, pretty simple. You just screw it into the back plate, basically. So we're going to take that off. Oh, God, that's really stuck on there. Okay, good. Our CPU did not come out with our cooler, which is entirely possible and happens a lot with AMD CPUs because they're not really as mounted as Intel ones in their sockets. There's nothing really holding them in. The lever just kind of holds it in. Now, if your CPU comes out with your cooler, don't worry. Shouldn't be broken. Maybe a bent pin or two, but it should be able to fix it just by wiggling it into the socket. So let's just get that out of the way. I guess I could use some new thermal paste. So let's get a napkin. So I'm just gonna take a regular towel. Don't need any any alcohol or anything, and just wipe off the thermal paste from the cooler so that we don't get thermal paste all over everything that this thing touches now. And we'll also, we got a no-K spread. I wonder if that's part of our cooling problem. It is spread mostly on the CPU, but not entirely. So let's wipe that off the CPU. This is going to, again, take our paper towel, wipe the thermal paste off the CPU as much as we can. Kind of dried on there. The stock thermal paste on these CLCs is okay, but it's not the best. Take out this last screw. And we're just going to, I know you can't really see, but I'm just taking out a Ryzen processor. Let's get a clamshell first. My recommendation, anytime you're working with an AMD processor, make sure you have one of these clamshells ready. This one has thermal paste in it. So that you can put it right in here so you don't have to be placing it around and you don't drop it by accident and bend all your pins. That would be terrible. So we're just going to, this one does not look great either, but that's fine. We're just going to open this up, going to pull up that and take out our basically brand new 3900X. Careful not to drop this $400 to $500 processor. And now we have a 3900X. That's just extra. So if anyone wants to buy it, $400 if you live in the US. So this video will become outdated as soon as someone buys it. So we're going to, apparently you don't need a BIOS update, so hopefully I should be good. We're just going to unbox, so to speak, and slot in our 3900 XT. Now, the only actual difference, despite my joking at the start of the video, the only actual difference is a 100 megahertz boost clock difference, which doesn't matter because AMD CPUs never fucking reach their boost clocks. So, I don't know how this matters, but maybe I'll get more performance in game. Apparently they're better overclockers because they're binned, obviously binned better. But let's slot in our 3900 XT. Now this isn't like brand new or anything because it is open box, but still don't want to drop it. Drop that into the socket, so to speak. And I'm going to use my favorite thermal paste. I'm going to be replacing the stock thermal paste with some Arctic MX4. One of my favorite thermal pastes, if not the best that I've ever used. Performs great, and with thermal paste, it doesn't really matter, but 1 to 2 degrees can make a difference, especially on AMD CPUs that are so temperature-based, that 1 to 2 degrees that, you could actually save by getting better thermal paste and having better heat transfer between the CPU and the cooler. It could be worth it. It could be the difference between, between 4.2 and 4.3 gigahertz boost, which is, in some applications, that's actually a lot. In gaming, that could be a couple FPS. So I always use high-quality thermal paste, and that's why I use Arctic MX4, not sponsored yet. Just going to put a pretty good amount on there, not too much. P-side dot, and then wipe it on the CPU. Should be plenty. It's better to have too much than too little. You can always clean up your board. You can't clean up a dead processor that overheated because you didn't use enough thermal paste. And we're just going to remount our EVGA cooler, which has, again, really good mounting. One thing I gotta give to Asetek, again, not sponsored yet, their mounting system is pretty easy. You just slide it on, and you screw in the thumb screws. I know this video is not super interesting just because you can't really see what I'm actually doing. I will get a new camera soon, I promise. So that we can have 2 cameras. We'll use this crappy one that ruins all my videos with white balance and all that for like overheads and stuff, and then the other one for the actual video. And just screw in that last one. I dropped it. There's kind of like a, people think that it's actually so much harder to change out a CPU, but it's really just, pop off the cooler, slot it in, and you don't have to take out really anything. The hardest thing to switch out is the motherboard, because you got to basically take apart the whole computer. But GPUs, coolers, CPUs, RAM, drives even, depending, unless you have a liquid-cooled system, in which case, good luck getting your drives out, bro, is super easy. I'm talking about M.2s, of course. So that was just it, a simple socket upgrade, and apparently according to AMD, although I don't believe a thing AMD says because they have been known to lie a ton about their performance and stuff, is that it should not need a BIOS update, and there should just be a slot-in change. Now, of course it'll be a slot-in change if they just name it 3900X in the BIOS, and it's nothing different, but if it's named 3900XT, who knows? But let's plug this in and find out. I'm gonna plug it in over there. Let's put it back together and find out, I should say. I know it's sad you won't be able to see, but I'm not willing to break any of this, so let's put on our glass. Still not going to plug in that back fan because Cooler Master has failed me with that fan. I'm praying here that nothing goes wrong, because it can. You know what they say, anything that can go wrong will go wrong for me specifically, and everyone else is fine. So let's... Oh god, how am I gonna... Don't crush my other CPU. No, the box. Ah! This box is worth so much money. Well, it's not worth so much money. It just costed so much money. There we go. And that's my first type of that box. You would think that's a 3950X. Especially if I told you it was. Now it's, people say it's a bad idea to put, like, your covers on and your side panels, and, I don't care. If it's broken, I'll take them back off, like, chill. Alright, here we go. There we go. And let's get everything plugged in. Alright, that should theoretically be plugged in. Let's find out. I know you guys can't really see. I don't care. I do care, but nothing I can really do about it. Our cooler definitely is plugged in and running. Make sure we get our router back up here. Razer router, I know, I'm a gamer. Can we get a display? Be a shame if we don't. Displays are plugged in. Oh, hey, there we go. We're booting. We're booting to something, that's for sure. Don't know what it is, but we are booting to it. Do I even want to... I'll go into the BIOS. if I didn't miss it. If not, oh well, who cares? We've got total memory, 24 gigs, DDR4 2133. We'll fix that. It's not telling me. Let's see what's called in the BIOS. Please be 3900 XT, so I can pretend I'm cool. Yes. Oh, it does. It comes with 3900 XT. Good job, AMD. I'm proud of you. You didn't lie for once. Yeah, we don't want 1.5 volts. Holy shit. Quick little voltage going down. Recommendation. If you use an AMD CPU, turn down your fucking voltage because AMD doesn't know what voltage is, so every AMD CPU I've ever had is going like 1.5 volts. 1.5, like, why am I running 50 degrees in the BIOS at idle? I can't comprehend why that would make any fucking sense. CPU fan error. The temps are not better at all. Set CPU fan speed to ignore because we don't have a CPU fan. We're using an AIO pump. Though I don't know why it detects CPU fan. Like, if I have an AIO pump, disable the CPU fan monitoring. Like, I don't care. God, isn't it funny how I can complain about a $400 to $500 processor? So, 3900X. Cool. Wow. Didn't think I'd ever see this again. I thought I would have it for a couple years. There's computer underbelly on my hand. Grody. I want to see what we boost to. That's what I'm curious. So, if you're wondering why I actually, like, even, 365, oh, it's a great deal, but, like, why even bother at that point? Now I have to sell this CPU and to make the money back. Like, why even bother? Well, it's because the 3900X on this board, this is a Crosshair 7 Hero. This is, like, one of the best X470 boards that exists. It wasn't boosting. It was just staying at 3.8 no matter what I did in the BIOS. Then finally I got it boosted. It would boost to 4.1, 4.0 under full load. That's stupid. So I had to manually overclock it, and the max overclock I could get, 4.325 gigahertz at 1.35 volts, which is kind of too many volts for that many gigahertz, if you don't know. So it was totally just stupid with this. So I'm hoping that with a 3900 XT, although it's only slightly higher, that I just get better performance, generally. Because I don't want to update the BIOS on this board, because it's stupid. I've updated it multiple times, it doesn't work. And if you don't know, AMD's drivers don't get better, they get worse. Under full load, we're only boosting the 4.2. Now that's better. You know what, let's leave it default. I want to see what this boosts to in game. Alright guys, so, I will, that's the end of the video. It's just upgrading my CPU. We're boosting, finally, so that fixed that issue, just switching out the CPU. What I think is going to happen is that in games, it's going to boost to where, like, 4.4, 4.5, where it's supposed to, on the couple cores that it's using, as it should. But I think in, like, Premiere Pro and stuff like that, it's going to do that garbage thing where it's just like, oh, 3.8. So I'm gonna auto overclock it to hopefully 4.4 by auto. I'm going to do it myself. That's besides the point. Hope you guys kind of enjoyed this stupid little video where I just upgrade my $400 CPU to another $400 CPU with the same name but a T. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you guys. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.